Hey guys, welcome back to my channel and let's continue with the practical revision. So this is module 4 of the Huawei ICT competition 2018-2019, and in this practical we are going to implement what's called security. We're going to configure firewall to protect the production network. The production network here is the network on the headquarters, that is the network, the internet network. We need to protect the internet network from the external networks, so that is the branch users. So here we are going to configure the firewall. Also we are going to ensure reliability. We are going to configure HRP so that in case firewall 1 goes down, firewall 2 here will be able to take the role of firewall 1. So this is just the same topology, the same practical that we've been configuring. So if you've not followed through the previous practicals, just check on my videos. I've configured module 1, module 2 and module 3. So now we are on module 4 where we are going to implement now security. So let's see the service requirement in this practical. So security. So security zone, first of all we are required to set the security zone. So configure the security zone of firewall 1 and firewall 2. Add gig 101 to trust zone, so that is the one on the production network. Gig 100 to untrust zone, then gig 106 to DMZ. So that's how it's going to be implemented. So after you configure that, the next thing we are going to do, then after you add the interfaces to the zones, you are required here to the interface of the firewall which is connected to the trust area need to enable a ping service. So you have to enable ping service on that interface, so to enable the ping ICMP packets to pass through. So after that, the next thing we are going to configure will be firewall security policy and hot standby. So to ensure reliability of the firewall, deploy the hot standby between firewall 1 and firewall 2. Firewall 1 is the active device, firewall 2 is the standby. The VRRP/VGMP function is enabled on gig 100 interface, and VRRP group number is 12, and the virtual IP is 10.1.127.10. The gig 106 interface is the HRP heartbeat interface. The routes between headquarters and branches are required to be reachable. The data traffic needs to be released from the trust zone to the untrust zone. So the policy name we are going to configure is trust to untrust. Then the untrust zone to trust zone must be matched exactly. Policy name is untrust to trust. Allow PC1 to visit PC2 and PC3. Okay, so that's the implementation. So PC1 here should visit PC2 here and PC3 here on the production network. So let's just continue. Now we are on our firewall 1. So on firewall 1, we are told to add the interfaces to the zones. So as you can see here, gig 101 is on the trust zone, gig 100 here is on the untrust zone. As you can see here, the security zone here is untrust, and on AS 100 the security zone is trust. Then gig 106 is going to be added to the DMZ zone, that is going to establish the heartbeat link. So firewall zone, this zone will be trust. Then on trust zone you add interface, gig 1/0/1. Okay, add interface gig 1/0/1. Or you quit and also create the firewall zone for the untrust firewall zone. and trust. The firewall zone and trust. Now add interface gig 100 gig 1/0/0. You quit, and the next is now add the gig 106 to the DMZ zone. That's the link that's going to establish the heartbeat. So interface, not interface, firewall zone DMZ. Then the DMZ, now you add interface gig 1/0/6. Then we are told to enable ping permits, to enable ping services on the interface that connect to the downward network. So that is on the headquarters. So you quit and you enter interface gig 1/0/1 ping service manage enable, then service manage ping permit, enable ping permit. After that you quit, so meaning that that interface will allow the ping packets to pass. Otherwise, by default, the Huawei firewall block the ping messages, the ICMP ping messages. On this firewall also you add the interface to the zone. So firewall zone, this is trust name, then add interface gig 101/0/1. You quit, and firewall zone this time is untrust. On the untrust zone you add interface. As you guys, you can see here, we configured the OSPF, but while we configured the OSPF, the neighbor was established, but now the LSS were not being exchanged because it didn't establish a full state. The state the last state was just extart, so that was the last state, that is for the neighbor relationship. But now it has waited until we've configured that interface, we added that interface to the zone, is when it has turned to the full state. So as you can see, our neighbor state here is now full. Initially it was extart, so meaning that on the untrust zone we add interface gig 100/0/0, quit, and also you create the firewall zone. Also you can see it has exchanged the LSS after adding that interface. So firewall zone now, firewall zone this time is untrust, not untrust, this is DMZ, the demilitarized zone, DMZ. Then you add interface gig 106 1/0/6. After that you quit and enable ping service on the gig 101. So interface gig 0/1/0/1, give it service manage enable, and tell the service manage ping permit. That's going to enable the ping packet. So you save, say yes, save that so that you don't lose our configurations. Also save on the device. After we configure now the interfaces, the next thing we are going to configure is now configuring the VRRP and the HSB. VRRP and the HRP, so that the information on firewall 1 here should be synchronized on firewall 2. So we are all going to configure firewall 1, HRP on firewall 1. After that, the everything configured on firewall 1 will be synchronized on firewall 2. So on that firewall, you enter the interface 101. Then interface 101 here, then we set the VRRP. So they said VRRP VRID was 12, virtual IP was 10.1.127.10. I believe so. Let's confirm. So let's confirm that. So they've said after firewall 1 is the active firewall, firewall 2 is the standby. VRRP VGMP group also on gig 100 is VGMP, VRRP and VGMP's function is enabled on the gig 100 interface, so that they connect to the upper interface. Then the group is set to 12. The virtual IP is 10.1.127.10. Then gig 106 is the heartbeat interface. So gig 101 here, the one that connect to this router here is where we are going to enable a VRRP. So interface gig 1/0/0, then VRRP VRRID, we said a group of 12, then a virtual IP will be 10.1.127.10. .10, I tell you this is the active. Then and this is the active. So the next thing we do is now you give it the VRRP VRID VRID 12 priority VRRD, you can't set the priority. So once you tell it the active, you'll be able to take the role of active. So you quit. Now go on firewall 2 here. So interface gig 1/0/0. Now VRRP VRRID of 12, virtual IP of 10.1.127.10 standby. After that, the next thing we are going to configure now. Let's display display VRRP. It's telling you that this is a backup. That interface is a backup. So now the next thing we do is now to configure now the HRP. So you quit HRP enable. So HRP is enabled. After that, configure HRP HRP interface gigabit 1/0/6. So we're going to set the heartbeat link, so Huawei redundancy protocol. Then a remote IP will be remote IP. Let's see our remote IP here. So gig 106. Let's see what the protocol is saying. Gig 106 is going to act as the heartbeat. Then gig 106, what did we configure for gig 106? So you come here and check that gig 106. Check gig 106 and see quit. Just enter that interface gig 106. I want to see what we configure. The IP address for that interface, gig 10/6 is this. See the IP address. So the IP address for this guy is now 10.1.12.1, meaning that the peer, which is will be .2, will be 10.1.12.2. So quit. So now HRP interface gigabit 1/0/6. Now the remote IP will be, remote address will be 10.1.12.2. After that, we are going to tell it to track interface HRP track interface. Interface gig, the downward interface is going to track the downward interface, that is interface gig 1/0/1. Then you quit. After that, you come on this firewall 2 here, and also you do the same. You quit and configure HRP. You enable HRP. After you enable HRP, you tell it HRP is it to be a standby HRP standby device. HRP standby config. Enable. So it should act as the standby. Now after I configure the standby, so meaning that firewall, the other firewall on the other side should act as the master. So after that, after configuring that, what we do, you add the interfaces. So HRP interface gigabit 1/0/6. A remote IP this side, this time will be 10.1.12.1. Okay, they are synchronizing. So now after that, you track the interface. So HRP track interface gigabit 1/0/1, and you save your config. Say yes. Come on this other firewall and see it has become the master. So as you can see here, this firewall has become the master. When you look at it here, will be it is HRP _M, meaning that it is the master firewall, HRP_M firewall 1. So it has take up the upstate of being the master. Then when you come to this other firewall, This other firewall here is now HRP_S, meaning that it's the standby firewall. So should firewall 1 goes down, firewall 2 here should be able to take the role of firewall 1. So you save the config. Also save on the device. So let's see on that our firewall. Display HRP, display HRP state verbose, and display HRP state verbose, and you see here the role here is active and the peer is on standby state. And you mirror configuration of auto synchronization is on, so that meaning that firewall 1 and firewall 2 should be able to synchronize. The track member interface is on, and OSPF, adjust OSPF cost on, adjust BGP cost is on. So gigabit 101 VRRP, gigabit 101 VRRP 12, so the state is active. Then gig 101 is up, gig 101 is up, OSPF cost, and that like that. Also come on this other firewall. On this other firewall now, display HRP state verbose. And display HRP state verbose, it's going to tell you here that it is the backup. So the role here is a standby. The role is standby, and the PI is active. The track member is on. Track member is on. Auto configuration synchronization is on, and auto synchronization status is also on. So here are the interface gig 101 VRRP VRID 12. The state is standby, not active. The state here is standby for that. So meaning that we've set the heartbeat link. So meaning that if this firewall goes down, all the service will pass through gig 101. So let's see also if we enabled a ping permit on that interface of gig 101. So interface gig, let's see if the ping it was enabled, so that in case the other firewall goes down, should be able to take over that role. So display this. So we enable the ping permit, so it will be allowing ping packets to pass. After that, the next thing we are going to do, let's see our next thing. Now we've reached here. The routes are the second last part. The routes between headquarters and branches are required to be reachable. The routes between headquarters and branches are required to be reachable. The data traffic needs to be released from the trust zone to the untrust zone. Policy name is trust to untrust. Then the untrust zone to trust zone must be marked exactly. So policy name is untrust to trust. So what we are going to do is we are going to configure now We are now going to configure the policy now on that our firewall. So once we configure on firewall 1, we don't need to configure again on firewall 2 because the information on firewall 1 is synchronized on firewall 2. So once you configure firewall 1, it will be able to take effect on firewall 2. So security policy. So rule name here they've said trust underscore and trust. So trust zone and trust. So now after that the source zone here will be trust, and the destination zone is on trust. Action here is to permit. Action here is to permit packet first. So action is to permit. Then you quit the next rule. The next rule you are required to set will be a rule name. This time will be untrust to trust, and trust to trust. The source zone now this time will be source zone. So zone will be untrust, and destination zone will be trust. Action here is to permit packets to pass. Now you quit, and you quit. The next thing we are going to configure is the NAT policy. So it's the NAT policy now to enable the network on our the IP address, our private IP address, to be hidden when we get to our external network, the IP address that we use on the external network. So NAT policy. Rule name here, rule name will be trust underscore and trust. Source zone here will be trust. Destination zone will be untrust. Action source NAT easy IP. Action source NAT easy IP. After that you save and say yes. So by the end of this, now PC2 here, PC1 here should be able to visit PC2. So when you look at this our network, you see some part of our network is shut down while our network is on. This means that the devices in our network has overwhelmed our PC, so our CPU is overused 100%. Now meaning that if we try to ping, the packets will be cut, so it won't be able to reach the destination. When the packet try to be forwarded up, it get to this link, it finds that that link is down, then the packet is being discarded. So what we are going to do, let's stop this our download. The network on the headquarter. Let's stop them so that we work with the external network. But actually the only thing that remains is now to test the ping, if the PC1 can visit PC2 and 3. They should be able to visit because we've configured the security policies and also the NAT, and we've set the heartbeat link. So in case firewall 1 goes down, firewall 2 will be able to take over the role of firewall 1. And you saw that firewall 1 took the role of master, and firewall 2 became the standby. So you see, we've stopped the downward devices, and now our interface has turned green, so meaning that our interfaces are now running.